Oh, I can hear someone's not on mute. Is there an easy way to do that? Could you all just check you're on mute a sec? Oh, there we go. Perfect, I can see you're all mute now. Brilliant. Oh, beautiful, guys. Right, so just good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome properly to your morning practice, the first of many, I hope. So the morning practice will have a slightly different flavour than the evening practice because I don't want to leave you zoned out and spaced out for the evening. I want to leave you full of vitality and energy to go about your day. Oh, sorry, I just heard this really weird noise, but Mark's turned the tap on behind me. I was like, who's taking off? What's going on? So we're going to build on the theme that we worked with last term. I think most of you were, except maybe Linda and Sonia, were on the class last night. And I introduced that I'd been working on this theme long before life changed. And the first 6 weeks we worked on creating space, and we worked on creating space in the body, in the mind, to feel, in the thoughts, just creating space in all aspects of our life. And my decision had been to continue that theme and revisit all those aspects, but from the point of view of the breath. And one of my students sent me something really beautiful through, maybe not beautiful, but functional and useful, from an ICU nurse and doctor, about how they are encouraging people to breathe if they contract the respiratory problems associated with corona, but also anybody that's experiencing respiratory problems. And they also advocated that it's a good idea to be practicing this kind of breathing in advance. So we're going to be continuing to work with the breath, and we're going to work specifically with my adaptation of how they're teaching to breathe from a more yogic perspective, with the goal of increasing our lung capacity from the outset, whether it's necessary or not. It's always a boon. It's always really useful. So if you would be so kind, we're actually going to start, I'm going to start you standing today because it's a morning practice and I want us to get a bit more, just trying to adjust my camera a little bit. There we go. So come to stand. And we're going to take Hridaya Mudra as we center at the start. So I'm just going to come close to the camera. If you take your index finger and roll it in so the base and the tip of the finger touch, and then squidge it onto your thumb. This is all very technical language. And now bring your middle finger and your ring finger to touch your thumb. Your pinky finger gets to just relax. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm having tea with the Queen. It can just be fairly chilled and extended. Do that with both hands. So roll in the index finger and then bring thumb and ring finger to touch. Step the feet a little bit wider than hip width so you're nice and comfortable, and bend the knees. And roll the shoulders back so that you open the collarbones. Close your eyes and sink down into your feet. And I welcome you into your practice today. I invite that this practice is a sacred time of deep inner connection, and that the body is a vehicle through which we can access the most subtle layers of ourselves. So in the lineage of tantric yoga, certainly, which is what I follow, the body is not a hindrance to be overcome. The body is not a barrier to enlightenment. The body is an access point. It's a gateway through which we can enter. So every time we step onto the mat, we are stepping through that gateway into the transcendent, sublime levels. So the breathing technique that we're going to use is actually very similar to what I had planned for us anyway. it features what in yoga we call kumbhaka, or retention of the breath. So what's going to happen is you breathe in, you hold the breath as you count to 5, and then you breathe out. You do that 5 times, and then on the 6th time, so how the NHS teach it is, on the 6th time you do a forceful exhale by the mechanism of a cough. So on the 6th round, you retain the breath, and then to exhale, you go a really forceful cough. Definitely first round, try that for yourself. Second round, I would say have a go at doing it in the yogic way, which instead of coughing out through the mouth, we'd keep the mouth closed, and we'd use that same level of force, drawing the diaphragm in and up, but we'd breathe it out forcefully through the nose. So it'd be more like this. Okay, so you're still getting a clearing of the airways, you're still getting a forceful exhalation that will activate the littlest alveoli right at the base of the lungs, bearing in mind that your lungs are much lower on the back than they are on the front. So we're going to be looking certainly this next term, to be activating the lowest part of the back lungs so that we're using as much lung capacity as possible. So let's start. Remember, breath work needs to be approached with the right attitude. So be loving and kind to yourself. Breathing in. Holding the breath for a count of 5. And then when you're ready, exhaling. And carry on like this, breathing in. Holding for a count of 5. Then exhaling. That's twice. Keep going, breathing in. Holding for a count of 5. Exhaling, that's 3. Breathing in. Hold. Exhale. This is number 5, breathing in. Hold. Exhale. Now this next one is number 6. We'll do the forceful cough. Breathing in. Hold. And forcefully cough it out. Good. And we'll go straight again with the second round. Breathing in. Hold the breath. Exhale. Breathing in. Hold the breath. Exhale. Breathing in. Exhale. Breathing in. Hold the breath. Exhale. Number 5, breathing in. Hold the breath. Exhale. And this is number 6. On this round, either coughing, if that was very accessible for you, or using the same action of the cough, but forcing the air out through the nose. You may like to do that into your sleeve or something, because sometimes a little bit of nasal fluid will evacuate at the same time. So final one, breathing in. Hold the breath. And then forceful exhale. Good. And now let the breath return to normal. You may feel slightly dizzy and lightheaded. Ground down into the feet. And release the hands. Circle the wrists. Back and forth. And then circle them all the way up to standing. Step the feet together. And come up onto the balls of the feet. Really reach up. Watch for the ankles sickling out like that. Draw the ankles in, squeeze the thighs together, and then spread the arms wide. Turn palms to face out and press into the heels of the hands, curling the fingers back towards your head. Keep lifting up. Slowly lower heels and arms. So if you're not at the top of your mat, coming there now. And inhale to lift the arms to the sky, looking up to the thumbs. As you exhale, bend the knees slowly and folding forward, keeping knees really bent. Let the belly rest on the thighs and round the back, drawing chin in towards chest. Take your hands now to the lower back, actually, if you just find the lowest part of the ribs where it joins onto your spine, and take your hands there, either side of the spine. And see if you can breathe into that area. By the way, thighs might be starting to complain about now, and that's fine. But expand the lungs into where your hands are touching your body. So you feel the back of the rib cage expanding. Hold the breath at the fullness and see if you can drink just a tiny bit more breath in. Hold it. And then exhale, slide the hands down the backs of the legs. And then bring them around to the front of the shins. Inhale to lift the chest and the heart. And even here, instead of normally I'd be asking you to press the chest down and forward, but instead draw the belly up so we get a slight rounding in the middle lower back. Draw chin into chest, or as my friend texted me after last night's class, which I told her I'd use, she's hilarious. She said draw chin, every time you said draw chin into chest, actually for me it was draw chin into sweaty tits. So maybe that's you, who knows, but draw chin into chest. And inflate the lower back ribs. Feeling how the breath creates physical space within the body. One more go here. Really staying in the kumbhaka for a moment. So the fullness of the breath for a moment. Oh yeah. And then exhale, folding down. Stepping right foot slowly all the way to the back of the mat. And lower that back knee. Untuck the toes. You might like to stay here, or you might like to bring the hands to the hips. If you bring the hands to the hips just for a moment, round the spine forward. So you shift the hips back, round the spine forward, before shifting hips down and forward into a more classical low lunge. Then bringing hands to the floor, tucking the toes, lifting the back knee, and we're actually going to take it into a little, no we're not, we're going to come, sorry, draw the back knee down and come back onto all fours. So we're coming into cat-cow. Slightly different way of working than I normally would do with you. Again, it's because it's the morning. So turn the palms to face out. So fingertips face out towards the side of the mat. Press into the hand, round the spine. Draw chin into sweaty tits. And focus the breath into the joints where the ribs connect to the spine. So as you breathe, as you inflate your lungs, feel how that creates that movement and space within the back of the body. Hold the breath. Stay suspended in the kumbhaka and notice what you feel in that suspension. And then when you're ready, exhale. And now, if it's available in your body, bring the fingertips to point all the way back towards the knees. If you're very hypermobile, you might need to take the arms slightly wider. Most people have the arms a little bit too close in this one, so try and move your hands so they're at least shoulder width apart. Same thing again, very gently round and inflate the back of the ribs and the spine. Draw chin into tits. Oh God, that's clearly now going to be a cue for me, isn't it? Love it. And breathe into the back of the ribs. Hold the breath. One more breath. Oh, beautiful. Come back to center. Gently bring the hands back around and step the right foot forwards. So if, like me, you've taken your stance a bit too narrow, so as in the knee and the heel aren't far enough apart, just use your hand to lift the right foot and take it a bit more forward. Let the hips soften down, and maybe you stay here with back toes untucked. Maybe you take hands to hips and you lift the hips up and back slightly so that you can round the spine just for a moment before coming back down, so drawing the hips down and forwards. Fantastic. Now taking hands to the floor. This time coming back regular cat-cow. And just take a little bit of time opening up into all areas of the body. In the cat-cow movement, it can be really delicious to circle the hips, especially those of you who were on the class last night. I definitely have noticed that my outer hips are a little bit tight after class last night. So if you're noticing that as well, use this to, I always think of it as like lubricating the joints. So you know when you put oil on a creaky door, whenever I do this movement, I always think of it like oiling all the creaky, tired joints in my body. So let the movement be like that. Let it be fluid, enjoyable. That's so important. Remember, our physical form is a gateway into the joy of being alive. Oh yeah, especially first thing in the morning. It's so important to feel into what's going on in the body and how you feel physically today. And all the bits that are going to appreciate a little bit of love. And normally when we do cat-cow, you'd exhale when you round the spine. But today, and for this term, I want us to inhale as we round the spine up towards the sky. So that we inflate the back of the lungs, finding this sense of spaciousness in the body through the breath. Beautiful. Now, keep right fingertips on the floor. You might like to move them slightly out towards the right. And take left foot back. We're going to come up into the half moon position. You can keep left foot on the floor, or you can lift left leg up towards the sky. Whoop. My balance is a bit off this morning. That's interesting. But wherever you are, really work. Squeeze that right butt. Lift the right lungs up. And make the leg that is lifted, the left leg, super, super strong. Oh, fantastic. Come back to center. Sway the hips, wag your little waggy dog tail. And then come over onto the second side. So left hand forward and to the left. Stack the hips over the left hip. So the hip points come to point out towards the long edge of the mat. Right arm comes up towards the sky. And maybe you lift the right leg. Squeeze your left butt like crazy. Press into the right heel. Lift up through the lower ribs. Beautiful. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then come back to center. Very well done. Make your way up into your downward facing dog while I have a quick wardrobe change going on here. Make your way into your downward dog. First downward dog of the day, I would guess, for most of us. So enjoy it. Oh, take some time in your dog. God, I love the first downward dog of the day. Take some time in your dog to just really work into all the little tight spots, especially as we're working on creating space for the ribs, especially working into these side ribs. Yeah, so good. I always think when I'm teaching like this and I'm really enjoying the poses, if you were to just take the audio of like me enjoying the poses, I mean, well, I'll leave you to fill in the blanks, frankly. Oh, yeah, so good. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit mean. Step the feet together, come forward into your plank pose, and come down onto the forearms. So the forearms are making like a number 11 shape. But now I want you to rotate it so the palms are facing up. Press into the forearms. Know that you can take the knees to the floor if you need to. Inflate the back of the ribs. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath. Oh yeah, keep going. And exhale. We're going to do that twice more. Hold the breathing in. Hold the breath. And exhale. Last one. Breathing in. Hold the breath. And exhale. Good. Bring the knees to the floor. Turn the palms to face down. Come all the way onto your belly. Woo, yeah. Bring forehead onto the floor for a moment just to rest. And let the breath smooth out again. Catch your breath. Sink into the floor, and in this moment, just be held. Then press hands down into the floor. Inhale, lift the chest for a small cobra. Maybe giving a little wiggle from side to side. Just being very mindful of how the back feels this morning. But just wriggling around to get that sense of ease and comfort in the body. And then pressing back, child's pose. And then downward facing dog. And then walking the feet back up to the top of the mat. Take the feet really nice and wide and bend the knees. And again, inflate the back of the body. Maybe even taking hold of opposite elbows can feel really nice here. Returning to the kumbhaka. So as you breathe in, hold the breath. And notice everything that you feel physically and emotionally as you retain the breath. You release it when you're ready, but carry on like this for another couple of breaths. I'll tell you when to stop. And if you find it helpful to take the hands to the back ribs, then absolutely do that. Last one. Good. Straighten the legs out now. Bring hands into prayer. If you need to bend knees because it helps support the back, always do, okay? And then inhale, come all the way to stand. Lifting the arms to the sky. Awesome. Now, spread the arms wide, exhaling if you haven't already. And shift the weight into the left leg. Squeeze that left butt and lift the right knee up. Keep the right hip pressing down, but lift and squeeze the knee. So we're really activating the psoas muscle here. And we were having to work with the deep core muscles and stabilizers. Bring the back of the right hand to the inside of the right knee, and press the two against each other really firmly as you take that knee out towards the side. Ooh. And squeezing here. Good, keep going. And then coming back to center, release the leg and the arm. Take the arms down by the sides for a moment and breathe. Landing in between sides. Allowing that sense of spaciousness to permeate all the way through your physical body. And then inhale, step the feet back together, take the arms back to the sky. Keep hips level, squeeze the right butt and lift that left knee up. Good, keep lifting. Remember, left hip's going to want to hike up. Draw it down so it stays level, so the sides of the ribs stay long. And then bring left hand to the back, at the inside of the left knee. Press knee into hand, hand into knee, and work. Woo, yeah. And then take the knee out towards the side. Keep that strong press going on. And breathe. Keep breathing. Keep the press of the hand and the knee. That's what's going to give you a little bit more juice and fire here. And then bring it back to center. Release arm and foot. Step the feet a bit wider. Take the arms down by the sides. And we're going to take our Hridaya Mudra again, just for a moment. So bringing first index finger to roll all the way in. Index finger rolls all the way in. Then thumb and ring finger touch. Take this on each hand. Bring the palms to face forward. And just settle into the breath again. Close your eyes if they're not already. Strong or soft. Wild or serene. Wherever breath flows, there is song. Hear its whisper touching behind the face, singing in the throat, dancing spirals in the sanctuary of the heart. All the meditations you have ever loved are vibrating in this luxurious hum, continuing even in sleep and dreams. This is your school, just you and infinity. And I love this last bit. The texture of the self is untamed freedom. Let that permeate every fibre of you. The texture of the self is untamed freedom. And that's one of the goals with these classes, of using the breath to create space in the body and to create space everywhere. It's the space for that freedom to express itself. When we don't have space, when we're rigid and tightly bound, there's not room to dance in that untamed freedom. And I don't mean, obviously at the moment it's more difficult for us to get around and get out. This is a freedom to be exactly who we are, to express all of the life that's inside of us. Open your eyes and step your feet really nice and wide now. And take the arms out towards the sides. Turn palms to face up. Now we're going to turn right foot to face forward, and we're going to just take the left heel back ever so slightly. Bend the right knee. So it's a modified warrior two with palms facing up. Take a breath here as you get nice and strong. Squeeze the thighs towards one another. Sit down a little bit deeper. Find your strength. And then slowly straighten that front leg. Reach forward. Far as you can, pressing the front hip back. And then rotate the arms so one arm comes to the inner right leg and the top arm reaches straight up. You can look towards the floor, you can look towards the side, or you can look up towards the top hand, whichever feels nicer in your body. Just breathe here, triangle, Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. One more breath. Breathing into the back of the ribs. Then bend the front knee. Take back hand to back hip. And take this front hand out towards the right and in front of you. Hop the back foot in. Readjust the front hand as needed. And maybe you just stay here and you concentrate on spiraling the ribs, the lower ribs, up towards the sky. Or maybe you lift the back foot off the floor. And again, you spiral those lower ribs up towards the sky. Options for the drishti, the gaze, are to look towards the floor here, which makes it easier. Look straight out towards the side. Or lift the top arm and look up towards the top fingertips. You find your drishti. Hold it. Squeeze that right butt. Keep going. One more breath. Yes. Bring back hand to hip. Slowly lower the back leg. Take both hands to the floor and walk yourself around into a wide-legged forward fold. Oh, hello, mama. Yeah. Shimmy the hips for a moment and breathe into the back ribs. Hold the breath, kumbhaka, breath retention. Gorgeous, one more. And then bend the knees, take hands to hips, come all the way back up to stand. Turn left toes to point out this time. Take right heel back. Bend the front knee. Chest's pointing round towards the long edge of the mat. Extend the arms out, palms facing up. Modified warrior 2, looking over the front hand. Find your strength. Find your inner resolve and your inner power. Now slowly straighten the front leg and reach forwards. At the same time, pressing the left hip back, back, back. And then tilt the arms down so the front hand comes to the inside of the leg and the top arm reaches up. The lower ribs curl around, corkscrew around, so it's almost like that left lower rib is trying to reach up to point towards the sky. You can look towards the floor, the side, or your top hand, depending on where your neck feels most comfortable. One more breath. Keep going. Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Good. Yes, you guys. Bring top hand to top hip. Bend the front knee. And take that hand that's on the at the front to the outside, pinky toe side of your front foot. Hop the back foot in, and maybe you stay here with the back foot on the floor. Maybe you lift the back leg into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. The lifted leg is super strong. It's not a dead weight, it's alive and vibrant. And keep using the breath here to create space in the body. Maybe the top arm lifts. Maybe it stays on the hip. I have no attachment either way. Good. Keep working, working, working. Oh, you guys, I'm sure you're nailing it. Bring the back hand to the hip And slowly bend the front knee to lower that back foot. Take both hands to the floor and walk yourself and your foot around back to wide-legged forward fold. In your wide-legged forward fold, just notice, I'm just looking at my feet now, they're not level, so rearrange your feet if they're not in line with each other. And bring the hands so they're right in the centre, in line with your toes. Keep the left hand where it is, breathe in, lift the chest and take right arm up towards the sky. And breathe here. Keep pressing left hip back. Work with the kumbhaka. So again, attention comes to the back ribs. And we hold the breath in the fullness, only as much as feels good for us. Oh yeah. And then come back to center, folding down. I love here, personally, I love to squeeze my forearms towards one another, which gives me a really nice opening through the shoulders, but if that doesn't feel good for you, then just relax. Make sure you let the back of the neck go. Beautiful. Now keep right fingertips where they are. Lift the chest as you breathe in, and as you exhale, twist up towards the left. Breathing here, lengthening the spine, always thinking about length and using the breath to create the space. So breathing into the back of the lungs, the back of the ribs, so you can feel that sense of opening as the breath forces more space into the joints where the ribs connect to the spine. Oh yes, keep going, one more. Oh, beautiful. Coming down now and walking yourself all the way back to face the top end of your mat. Coming down onto your knees. Bringing big toes to touch, taking knees wide and coming down into child's pose. And just let yourself settle. Making it a slightly active child's pose though, so have the centre of the palms pressing down into the mat, but at the same time lifting up like you have little suction cups on the inner palm, hasta bandha, so it's like an energy lock between the hand and the mat, drawing energy up through the mat, up through the earth, through the arms, back to the heart. And as you breathe here, breathe into the back of the lungs. The nature of the self is untamed freedom. I often think, in this day and age that we live in, where are we taming ourselves to fit in for others? Where are we trying to impose limits and boundaries on ourselves that aren't our natural untamed freedom, just so we don't rock the boat and make other people feel uncomfortable? Something I've worked with a lot in my own life. Maybe a question to ask yourself as well. Now walk the hands back up. We're going to take a very quick pigeon pose. If you know pigeon on your front doesn't work for your body, take pigeon on your back. I'm actually going to do it facing the camera because it's going to give you a better view. So what you're going to do is bring your right knee forward. So it's on the outside of your right wrist. And then your back leg slides back. So you've seen it from the front. The right knee is on the outside of the right wrist. If you take a look, my heel is in towards my groin. And then from the side view, the back leg slides back. Today, because it's the morning and I don't want to take us too inwards, we're actually going to keep lifted. So what I want you to do is let the hips sink down, but squeeze the back thigh and the front thigh. So as if you were trying to squeeze them together. Press into the legs and lift up through the chest. And just take 3 breaths here. Maybe even playing with the breath retention here if you're enjoying it. It's one of my favourite pranayamas, favourite breath practices is retaining the breath. Can't recommend it enough. I find it so soothing and also expansive at the same time. Okay, and then popping back into downward facing dog. And taking the left knee to the outer left wrist. Same, second side. 3 breaths. Fantastic. Now roll over onto your left hip and scoot the legs out straight in front of you. Now come to sit cross-legged. You may like to sit elevated on a prop, on a blanket, on anything here. I'm going to sit on my bolster. And we arrive at the end of our practice this morning. And I want to take this time at the end of practice to go back inwards. So find your mudra again, Hridaya Mudra, curling the index finger in and bringing middle finger and ring finger to touch the thumb. Let the arms rest on the knees, lengthen the spine. And draw chin ever so slightly down towards chest, just so the back of the neck gets long. Before we do any kind of manipulation with the breath, just land back here. Take this moment of quiet to notice how you feel after a morning practice. You don't need to judge what shows up, you just need to witness it. And acknowledge with gratitude the good that you do for yourself when you start your day with inner connection and movement. What an absolute gift. You get to feel smug. I love that. We're going to finish with another 2 sets of the breathing technique to help maximize lung capacity. So remember, it's breathing in for 5 rounds, holding the breath for a count of 5, and then exhaling. And then on the 6th round, either coughing or doing the pumping action that we do in other breathing techniques, where you draw the belly in and up and anything comes out through the nose. So it's very forceful, whichever way you choose to do it. You begin. Go at your own pace. I'm not going to cue you this time because we've practiced it several times, so you go at your own pace. the 6th round, the forceful exhale. And then one more time. When you've completed your 2 rounds, just let the breath return to normal. And bring hands into prayer. Taking a moment to give thanks to each other, to this wonderful practice that we call yoga, to all of the unseen forces that hold us and support us, and to all of the amazing people who are out there working so hard to care for us. Strong or soft, wild or serene, wherever breath flows, there is song. Bow your head. May your day be filled with fun and laughter and gratitude. Thank you for showing up and practicing with me this morning. Namaste.